The purpose of this video is to explain to my 6th grade students their Practical Living Career Project, which will be a career plan presentation. Now, the purpose of this project is to proclaim your career goal and the route that will help you achieve your goal. To find the required information, you will need to do an internet search or interview someone in the field to help you with your career plan presentation. Your presentation can be displayed on poster board or via PowerPoint. Now, if you do a poster board presentation, what I would do is perhaps get like a typing paper or just regular old copy paper and include the information on each of those pieces of paper what you would ordinarily put on a PowerPoint slide. And then you can attach those copy paper sheets that you have filled out on your poster. That would be one method. You could do the poster and have it look nice and make sure that you have all the required information. As we live in a digital age, however, the PowerPoint is the one that I'd be most impressed with. But in the end, as long as you fulfill the requirements of the rubric, it'll be acceptable to do a poster. Now, when you're doing your research, I recommend that you check out Wikipedia for general information. If you have a college in mind, you may want to visit their website to see if they offer a major in your chosen career and see what recommendations they make for preparing yourself for that field of study. You can always Google for information. Expect to spend about 3 hours on this project. Now, that's not just my requirement. It is what is expected of all your snow pilot projects, regardless if it's one for me or one for somebody in 5th grade or 4th grade and so on. It's expected that to be the equivalent to a school day that you spend at least 3 hours on a project outside of school. Now here is the career plan presentation rubric. For 10 points, you just need to tell us what your future career will be. Then for 10 more points, you need to tell us why you chose that career. A lot of people in the past have said that they're interested in something that career choice will allow them to experience. Sometimes they say they want to make a lot of money. Sometimes they want to do something because a relative or somebody that they respect works in that career. But why did you choose that career? What kind of training will you need to be qualified in your career choice? There are some jobs that you can get all of your training on the job. There are some careers that vocational and trade school will help you. There's also college that will prepare people for careers, and then there may be other paths or avenues to get the training that you need to be qualified in your career choice. For 15 points, you need to tell where you will get this training. Now, I'm expecting what college specifically or what place specifically you plan on going to get this training. A lot of people may not be aware of it in our state of Kentucky, but there are no veterinarian schools. So if you want to be a veterinarian, you're going to have to eventually move out of the state and go to one of the schools that have that program. Another thing about this one here is it's a good idea once you figure out where you hope to get your training to find out maybe how much the tuition is at those places. For 15 points, you'll also need to explain what skills you need to prepare you for that training. I mean, as a teacher, some of the skills that I have to have are not just academic, but I needed a lot of patience. If I'm trying to get across a particular skill and it takes a while to kind of get that across, I have to be patient. I don't want to get impatient with students and then try to just cover the material and not actually teach the material. So you have to have a lot more than just academics in order to prepare you for certain careers. But it would also be good to know, do you have to be really good at math? Because if you have to be really good at math in order to be prepared for your college or whatever else it is that's going to get you to your career, it'd be good to know that. That way you could really spend a lot of time and really emphasize your math while you're going to grade school and high school. Now, for 5 points, can you find employment in your career choice analysis county, or will you have to move? I mean, when you look in the local paper, we don't have a lot of job postings for, astronauts and things like that. So some people, they absolutely just cannot imagine living outside of Owsley County. If that's the case, then you might want to think of something that you can do that would allow you to stay close to home. But if you're willing and able to move off, the world is out there for you. And there's a whole lot of opportunities out there, so it won't play as big a role in your career choice if you're willing to move. For 10 points, you need to tell us where will you live as you are employed in your career choice. Now, where do you want to be? Do you see yourself still living in Owsley County? Do you see yourself moving to Lexington? Do you see yourself moving to Florida? Where do you expect that you'll live as you're employed in your career choice? 8. For 10 points, how much does your career choice pay? From a beginner to a veteran in the field. I mean, I've got students who say they want to live in big houses, drive fancy cars, have fancy toys, go on big vacations. If your career choice doesn't pay a lot of money, you may need to rethink your priorities. So it's important that people know how much does a career choice pay. And for 10 points, what is something you would like for the class to know about your career choice? What's something that we might not know about that career choice? Now, you're still young, you're in the 6th grade, you have all the time in the world, just about it, to concentrate on what you want to be. I know there is a computer program that you're working on with Miss Fox that's going to help you look at your aptitudes and figure out what you're good at and offer suggestions for you. But whatever you do, I would pick something that I would really, really, really enjoy in life, because if you really enjoy what you do, then every day is like a vacation. I know people who have worked until they were very, very elderly, and I know people who have worked and retired as soon as they could. I know people that really enjoy their jobs, and I know people who dreaded going in. So I would pick something that I really was interested in, something that I really want to do, and let the money follow. Now, let's look at a couple examples of some of my past students' projects, and think to yourself, is this something that would get a high score based on our rubric, or what is something you would change about it, or how are you going to do yours? Now, the first one is an electrician, and this young lady who picked this one, she found a picture of a lady electrician and she included in her presentation. And here she explains why she wanted to be an electrician, and she talks about the kind of training she has to do. She talks about what school she's going to go to get that training, what skills that she'll have to have, whether or not she'll get to stay. She talks about how much money she plans on making. She also talked about one of the fun facts that she would like people to know. Now, here's another one a little feller did a couple years ago, where he wanted to be a coal miner. And by the way, I know this little feller now, he wants to be a train engineer, a CSX train engineer. So it's kind of neat how people change their minds. Just because you pick a career doesn't mean that you have to be that career when you grow up, that it's set in stone now. No, this is just to kind of open your eyes up to what is available to you. This is just kind of a research project, so feel free to change your mind. This is not something that I'm going to be hunting you down in a few years to make sure that you didn't stray from your path. Now, this little feller, he explained why he chose that career. He talked about what coal miners do, what kind of training that he will need. He had a lot of training he had to put in there. Some of the requirements for different types of coal miners, where he planned on getting his training, where he planned on working, and whether or not he'd be able to stay in Owsley County, and how much money he hoped to make. So those are just a couple examples of past student work. Have fun doing this, do your best, and as always, you have my contact information, students, if you need to get in touch with me. Thank you.